Hello children and young people. I would like to speak to you today about why it is that sometimes you desire to be different from everybody else, and why it is that sometimes that might feel a little bit uncomfortable for you. So what you might not know is that this is a perfectly normal pattern that all human beings rotate throughout during their lives. When we start out as babies, we are very much kind of coming into the world and it's all about me. Like, not me especially, but it's all about that own particular individual. They are, as babies, not really all that aware of other people, and they don't much care for them. In fact, the only time they're really interested in them is when they need food and a nappy change. So it's more about like, what can you bring to me? I am, this one special, unique human being, and I need all the attention. And that's just what babies do to get through that initial phase of their development. But as time goes on, they start to enjoy the interaction from others and actually really need it in order for their development to continue. So they rotate from being all about themselves and being this unique little individual thing to then realizing, actually, I'm part of something else. So they start to recognize family and maybe certain faces that they know, and they really enjoy engaging and interacting with them. And they actually start to feel like they are part of that collective of other people. Guess what happens next? As they approach their toddler age, they start to become quite selfish again. And they're really self-focused because they're going through another phase of development where they really need to focus on building up their skills of walking and talking and so on. So the world once again becomes all about them. Later on, they go to school, and then it becomes all about their social skills and making new friends. So at that point, they start to want to be part of a group again. And so it continues. Throughout our lives, we're always pivoting between being unique and different to everybody else, and then wanting to be part of the group and being accepted by everybody else. Now, it starts to get a little bit more distinctive as you move towards your teenage years. So for those of you who are perhaps year 6 and upwards, you may have noticed that you're transitioning either from the group to becoming unique and individual, or from unique and individual to wanting better connection with those people around you and perhaps wanting to be part of a group. One of the ways in which young people start to define themselves as individuals might be by what they wear, or the colour of their hair when they dye it, or getting a tattoo or a piercing or something like that. Something that sets them apart from other people. Now, if you've noticed that you've got friends who suddenly seem to be going a bit cuckoo because they're doing some unusual things, or they're just developing in a way that you hadn't expected, that's probably part of their desire to be unique and individual once again. It's completely normal. Sometimes you might also experience the challenge of wanting to reconnect with other people, or to build up your social circle a little bit better. You might have a desire to have more friends and find that unfortunately everyone else is in that different state of mind where they're wanting to be unique and individual, and that they're not at the connection stage just yet. So you've got to wait a little bit for that to all sort of come full circle again, and for everyone to be at the same level of development whereby they're all wanting the same thing that you are. Probably by which time you won't actually need them. Sometimes the adults in your lives will find it really challenging when you start to go through one of those unique phases where you want to be individual and different once again. Now, part of the reason why that happens is because they might see that you're becoming a separate individual to the rest of your family, and they want you to continue being part of the family because they love you and they like to feel connected to you. So when you start to break away and do different things, or to form social circles that are outside of the family, it can really freak them out. In my experience, I find that it works very well in those circumstances to keep the channels of communication open, by which I mean that if you are feeling that you want to express yourself in a certain way by, changing the way that you dress, or getting your hair cut a different way, and the people around you seem to be disagreeable to that, then explaining to them that this is part of your self-expression might help them to understand where you're coming from. I remember when I was 16 and I got my nose pierced, and people in my family like really freaked out about it. You'd have thought that I'd have got some swear word tattooed across my head. Like, they really freaked out about it. And it was completely, in my opinion, irrational and out of, what's the word I'm looking for? Out of proportion to the circumstances. In fact, one of the ways that I recognize now that some of my relatives coped with this trauma was they would say quite unpleasant things in order to try and shock me out of making the changes that I was starting to make. For example, my grandfather said that my nose piercing looked like a massive zit on my face. Nice. So what I'm saying is, when you reach those points where you want to be unique and you want to be different, and you perhaps want to start, just defining your own personality and figuring out who you are, it is completely okay for you to do that. If you can communicate with the people around you who might get a little bit wobbly about it, then it might help them for you to have that communication with them too, and to just explain why it is that you're doing this and where it is that you're really coming from. But ultimately, if they can't accept it, then don't feel like you need to conform. The most important thing is that you are comfortable with who you are and that you like yourself, and everyone else is secondary to that. You have to put your own opinions of yourself first, because if you don't like you, it makes it very difficult for anyone else to like you either. If you want to make a statement one day by going out wearing maybe bright pink lipstick, then that is absolutely fine, because providing you've got the confidence to follow it through, then what everybody else thinks about it is absolutely irrelevant. The most important thing is that you like yourself. Other people who have known how you were before might find that you changing and becoming this new person is weird or different or difficult for them in some way. But if you stick with it and you persevere with defining who it is that you want to be, they'll catch up eventually, and they'll start to let go of whatever their hang-ups were. And most interestingly of all, at the point where you feel like you've really got comfortable with yourself, you'll probably want to rejoin something that gives you back that connection of being part of something bigger once again. And when you've got bored with it, guess what will happen? You'll start looking for that uniqueness and shaking things up and becoming independent. This pattern will continue throughout the whole of your life. There will be times when you perhaps want to work with other people and be part of a team, and then other times when the team really irritate you and you just want to crack on your own, and you'll stick with that for a while, and then you might start to feel lonely, and then you'll want to be part of a group again. And later on down the line, you might find that you're bored with being single and you want to be in a relationship, and then you'll be in the relationship and miss being single and want to be independent once again. It's a constant one to the other and back again, and that's just the way things are. As you get older and you start to find out what the right balance is for you, you'll be able to enjoy both of those times, the times where you're being unique and individual and the times when you're connecting with others and being part of a group. So providing you know which home suits you most or what proportion you need to spend in each, then you'll always feel happy and comfortable in yourself. Anyways, I hope that video was useful for you today. Keep being unique and individual, but remember to maintain those connections with others as well, because you never know, one day those people around you might be useful or important in some way. If you like this video, then go ahead and hit that like button. Give it a jolly good poke with your finger to tell me that this video was helpful for you. Then you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the notifications bell so that you get notified the next time I upload a video, and be sure to connect with us on all of our social media channels, which are listed in the description box below. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!